Hey, guys, it is Alison. I am the host of your show, Alison Answers Mission Awake. I cannot wait to sit down with you today and go over how we are going to crush the mediocrity in your life that has been plaguing our society since the beginning of time. I cannot wait to have a real deal conversation that includes intelligence, fun, excitement, and real actionable steps to make a real difference in the life that you're living now and making it into something you can be damn proud of and excited to live. Sit down, put on your damn seatbelt, and get ready for the ride of your life. Hey, guys, how are you today? It is Alison from Alison Answers and Logger Counseling Services. We are here today with a master. This man, his name is Anthony Pezzillo. Did I say it correctly? He just told me 2 minutes ago, by the way.
You got it. Pezzillo.
Okay.
No, that was good enough. I've been
Thank you.
Worse.
Good enough is never good enough, Anthony. But anyhow, so Anthony is a member of the same group that I'm a member of, that you guys have heard me say probably over and over and over again, Arate. And I love to have people who are in Arate on the show because I always know that they have value to share. And I know that they are people, they're entrepreneurs that are dedicated to changing the face of business, to making it a force for good on earth. And that is what Anthony's doing. And that's why I have him on the show, because when you hear, I want you to be prepared to hear what Anthony does. And I want you to consider your parenting as you're listening, because Anthony's going to explain to you the development of children and how his business is dedicated to helping children in the 21st century become leaders and influential, and to not be just statistical mediocrity bots. Now, I am not quoting Anthony right now, by the way. That's just me talking. So don't yell at him. But anyhow, so what Anthony's doing, he's working with the younger people, little children, to do the things that we're doing as adults in personal development, to rewire our brains and to become all that we can be, because we are creators of our life and we are taught that we're not. And children are sold a very, very not good bill of goods, if you would put it that way. So Anthony is the owner. Is that correct? Are you the owner of?
So yeah, Masteries consists of 6 schools. The founder, his name is Greg Horton. I'm second in command, and I own two of the martial arts schools under him. So I'm the CEO of the Mastery.
That's awesome. So Anthony, can you explain to us, I have like a bunch of different questions, but could you just explain to us what your business is? And then the second question I'm going to ask you is how you got here doing what you're doing. So I want to know what you're doing, and then what led you to get here to have this as a missional experience.
Absolutely. Yeah. First, Alison, thanks so much for allowing me to be part of the podcast. I'm excited to have the opportunity to connect with all of you, and obviously to have the opportunity to maybe open up your mind a little bit about what's possible to helping your children develop in 4 areas, mentally, physically, emotionally, and socially. And if you really understand, a child's development, it doesn't happen by accident. A child's born with 0 identity on the world. I mean, if you take a white piece of paper, it's blank, it's pure, there's nothing on it. We can draw, we can mold, we can create any child we want from birth. Now, unfortunately, science has proven that children's belief systems stem 4 or 5 generations backwards, deep, great grandfathers, grandmothers. They're back in history, and those belief systems continue to carry forward into what we are today in the 21st century. So just know that your child's belief systems are already developed even before a child begins the stages of birth and giving life. So what we do at Mastery is we take children between the ages of 3 and 13 years old, and we start transforming their mind, helping them, A, develop the right discipline they need to succeed in life, B, giving them the belief that they can do it, C, teaching them how to communicate with themselves and others, and then giving them a high level of respect for themselves and others, and then teaching them about self-esteem, and then finally helping them understand the value of honesty. Those are the 6 skills we instill in kids for many years, and it's been a very positive, proven, successful program.
I'll tell you what you're describing right there. You could teach probably any adult all of those things and really transform their lives, because that's what, anyone who's working in personal development on themselves or with other people, this establishment of this foundation. What I was discussing with Anthony prior to coming on the show was, we were talking about this quote that I'm always saying, you guys hear me say it, is that from Alvin Toffler, that the illiterate of the 21st century are not those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and learn again. And I think a lot of the adult experience is that we are struggling through patterns that were set from the time we were 0 to 7, right? And all of these established beliefs that have occurred, that's my whole mantra, that's my book, that's everything. So I love that Anthony's here. And, my little, neuroscience, dip in this is that, between the ages of 0 and 7, really 2 to 7, children develop 1.5 quadrillion synaptic connections, which is a lot of connections. And basically what all of those connections are the meanings that the children have attached to all these little nuances that they're experiencing through their 5 senses. And what I'm hearing Anthony say is that he wants to be right there and be influential in that development. And as parents, what I'm asking you to do is to stop and to consider 2 things. One, as you're here, consider your own children as Anthony speaks, and how you can make subtle differences, not even subtle, vast differences in how you're wiring your children's brain. And then understand that your wiring has already happened, and that if you're listening here, you're doing the work to rewire and reconstruct what's been taught that is not functioning well and aligning with your life. So what I want you to really sit and even take notes and consider any couple of things that you would do differently for yourself and for your children. I told Anthony, and then I'm going to stop talking and let Anthony talk. I told Anthony when we pre-recording that when adults bring children to the counseling centers, they're just like, here, fix them. We always know that if we want to help a child, we have to help their most major influence, and it's their parent. So consider how you can readjust what you're doing internally, because when we change our wiring, we are more likely to change the way we wire our children. Is that accurate, Anthony? Do you agree with that?
Spot on, Alison. We are the example, right? There's no one more important in a child's life than their parents in the beginning stages of a child's life. And we're the influencer. We set the tone, we set the mood. Kids don't listen to what you say, they watch what you do. And that's a really powerful understanding. If every parent across the world understood that kids they listen with their eyes. They don't listen with their ears. We all have children. We know this. We tell them not to do something. They still do it. Why? Because they're visual. 80% of children are fully visual. Whenever they see, they want to emulate if it's somebody that they aspire to want to be like their parents. And that's what Mastery is really designed to do. It's designed to put children in the right environment to help them get the results that parents are looking for their kids.
How would you suggest, I'm sure that you're kind of telling the parents this too. So what do you do with the kids to help them? Let's say you have a kid that comes in, I'm sure it happens, that maybe their parents are saying it's a behavior problem or whatever. What do you do in that situation?
So great question. It really, parents come to us for mostly 3 reasons. Now more than ever before, we hear the word confidence. Kids have low confidence. It's confidence, discipline, or focus, sometimes respect. Those are the main reasons why kids come to us. During COVID, it was physical fitness because kids just weren't getting enough activity. Understand is that every child's motivated. I've never met a child in my 25 years of existence that doesn't have motivation. The question is, What rewards and recognition are we giving them to keep them motivated? See, sometimes we have a child that comes in and my parent says, my kid can't focus. He's having a hard time at school. He can't focus at home. And so we sit down and we say, okay, let me ask you a question. Billy, we build some rapport with Billy and say, do you like TV? Oh, I love TV. What's your favorite TV show? This. Tell me about that TV show. Blah, 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 blah. Really interesting. Do you have a favorite song? Oh, I love music. What's your favorite song? Can you sing it to me? And then we just look at the parent and we go, have a hard time learning, huh? Because the motivation is there. But see, sometimes with kids, if the motivation or the expectation level and the reward isn't incongruent with what their goal is, they don't want to do it. That's why so many kids struggle at school. They're sitting there for 8 hours a day like this. Kids want to move. They want to be active. They want to jump around. So why let a child sit there? And when the kid wants to be explored and be a dynamic, perfect example, in China, they took away everybody's desks at school. China now has schools that are fully interactive all day long. They're physical, they're engaging, they're interactive, and the results are getting so much better because the body and the mind are connected. So understand that if a child's having a hard time with focus, confidence, discipline, or respect, first thing we've got to do is evaluate them. Say, okay, is it really an issue or is it just an issue in certain areas? So for instance, we have a kid that comes in, the mom says, my child has low confidence. We like to refer to them as a stage 5 leg clinker. Have you ever met these people, Alison?
Yes.
The kids that hide behind a parent's
Yes.
leg? Yeah?
Yeah.
But do you think they're like that at home?
No.
Of course not. So realize is that we all have a comfort zone, right? Even children have a comfort zone. Children are not like this at home. They're rambunctious, they're wild, they're energetic because they're in their comfort zone. The minute you remove a child from their comfort zone, if they're confident or they don't have enough self-esteem, they're going to kind of be scared because they don't know what to expect. So building a child's confidence is done in layers. It's done step by step. The best way of explaining it to a parent, think of pancakes, right? We stack the pancakes up. Same thing in a child. They have one great experience outside. I feel pretty good. They have another great experience outside. I feel really good. Wait a minute. Everybody just clapped for me. Everyone told me how great I am. I feel better. Now, on the reverse side, it can happen the same way, parents. Your child has one negative experience outside, drops. They have another negative experience, drops. They have another negative. Now, all of a sudden, in their mind, they're saying, I can't, instead of yes, I can. You think about respect. You know, respect really comes down to helping kids recognize and respect authority. I just had this conversation with my son yesterday. Funny you say that, is that I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, and I absolutely adore them. I'm so thankful to be their dad, to guide them in this life. And it's such a pleasure watching them develop. Do my children have self-esteem issues? Not even close. They go up to anybody and everybody, and sometimes to a fault, and they just start talking to everybody. The challenge is that I see kids not have that experience all too often. And then I ask myself, why do my children do that? Oh, they see my wife and I do it all the time. Everywhere we go, we're making new friends. I do it intentionally because I want my children to see and understand that this is the way society is supposed to be. We're not supposed to stand in line at the grocery market and not talk to each other. We're not supposed to stand at the coffee shop and not say something to each other. Why? Why do we have to stand on our phones? So I'm the type of person that I want to get in your business. I know what's going on. And then, of course, your children emulate as well, too. So understand is that discipline, focus, respect, and confidence, those are skills that need to be developed with time. Those skills don't develop in the day. Those skills are developed daily for the rest of your life. I'm sure Alison and I, we're still working on our confidence. I'm still working on my respect. I'm still working on my discipline. It's a daily action that as parents, we have to take so our children want to emulate us.
Yeah. And you know, I love when you say the daily thing, because I always tell people that it's being awake and aware in the now, in this moment, and creating now, not reacting to externals, but creating things that you're aligned with. But you know what I'm wondering, like when you're I wonder, how did you, because martial arts is incredible. Not that I know a lot about it. I've heard it is, but no, I know. I mean, I did a little bit of it, but I was horrible. But anyhow, so I know what you're going to say. No, you weren't, blah, 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 blah. But anyhow.
Not even touching it. Not even touching it.
I actually I heard it tumbling out of my mouth. I'm like, oh, I'm not being a really good role model for this podcast right now.
No way.
But
No
anyhow.
way. Yes, you are. You had a bad instructor.
I did.
Yeah.
I swear I felt so, I did. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I felt like such a jackass in this class, but anyhow, and he did not help.
Yes.
That's
a whole nother conversation we can have.
It is.
Yes. Unfortunately.
The whole education. Okay. But what I want to know is what drew you to, like, do you recall challenges in your own childhood or the way that you learned different things? And I don't know anything about you. I don't know if you did or didn't, but is there something that has driven you to want to help children? Besides it's just being your calling, like a lot of times it has to do with some, a holy discontent sometimes we have. So I was just wondering if there's any challenges that brought you here.
There's a lot of parents in the world, and if you're listening to this, and if you're you, I just want to let you know that there's definitely ways to not stress out about your child if they're having these kind of issues I had when I was a kid. Growing up, I was a behavior child. I was more at the principal's office more than I was in the classroom. It wasn't it was an ongoing thing. My parents were frustrated, my dad especially. My dad worked full time. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. My dad was the sole provider, waking up at 6, going to work, coming home at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. He ran his own business, a gas station and a garage. I was down there more than I was at home because I was always in trouble, and I couldn't figure out why I was getting in trouble. And now that I'm older, I realize it. So parents, if your child is always in trouble and they're having a hard time behaving, here's what I've learned from just my own awareness. The reason why I enjoyed getting in trouble because I liked the attention. It was the only way I was able to get attention from my parents and outside sources, and it made me feel good. We all have the sense of belonging. It's a human need. We need this sense. And that was my way of gathering the sense of belonging because I felt like I was belonging in the world. With kids, it doesn't matter what attention they get. They just want attention, whether it's good or bad. All they want is attention, most importantly from parents. So growing up, I was a behavior child, down at the principal's office more than I was at school. And then one day, my younger brother went to a martial arts school on a Saturday for a birthday party. And my instructor now, Mr. Horton, ran the birthday party. He was much younger at the time, and it was a long time ago. And that Monday, he called my mom and asked if my brother would be interested in coming back and trying out a martial arts class. And then he also said, he's welcome to bring a friend or family member. Is anybody like to bring? So my mom said, you know what? Yeah, he's my other son's coming with you as well too. And my mom got off the phone and I said, what are you doing? She's like, I put you in martial arts class. I was 11 years old. I was like, Mom, this is stupid. I am not trying martial arts class. No way. This is like not cool. Like, because martial arts, unfortunately, Alison, is so far behind time. There are so many great benefits. And unfortunately, you had a bad experience with an instructor. And that happened hundreds of thousands of times across the country because martial arts instructors haven't evolved. So I am here and I'm like, no way, this isn't happening. So I got forced to go into this martial arts school, and I sat down on the bench and I met my instructor, my mentor now. And he's like, are you ready to try class? I said, no, this isn't for me. I'm good. I'm going to sit here and watch. I said, okay. So my brother took the first class, and of course I was watching, and it was cool, but I was like, this isn't for me. And then I watched my brother break a board, and he went, and I was like,
I'm doing that.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to do that.
Yes.
Yes, I want to do that. And he's like, well, come give it a shot. And he said, well, you have to stand with your feet together, shoulders back, chin up, and you can't move a muscle for 20 seconds. See, he figured out, he already knew what I wanted, and he used it as leverage to help me understand what self-control and discipline was. So I stood there for like 20 seconds. I'm like, this is weird, but I'm not moving because he's got what I want. And then he said to me, he said, okay, I like you, but you didn't complete your lesson yet, so I can't break the board today. And I'm like, what? He's like, well, hold on. Why don't you go home tomorrow morning and make your bed all by yourself? And you come back tomorrow, I'll let you break the board. I woke up the next morning. I never made my bed in my life. I made my bed as fast as possible. I was so excited that whole day to go to class. I went to class and I broke the board and I felt great. For the first time in my life, I had energy positive energy being directed towards me and reshape my behavior. See, I always had the energy. My energy was just headed in the wrong direction. Then my instructor shifted the direction and helped me put it on something more positive. And that was the beginning of my martial arts experience.
This is so badass. Check this shit. Yeah. Guys, this is so good. You're talking, and I'm like thinking of like 20 concepts that you're discussing right now. So habit stacking, like he took this desire that was going to give you such a dopamine shot to break that board, and he coupled it with making your bed, standing up and owning your space. He put them all together. Like, that is so cool. That right there is such a great example. And you know what I was thinking of? And guys, you know me, this possibly could be a tangent, just tangent alert. Okay. Just for a second, but I cannot stop making this connection between something you're saying. So we were in Arte, we were at that summit, and basically there was this branding expert who talked about, he was the guy who rescued Harley Davidson from its crash and burn years or whatever. I don't know a lot about it, but the guy talked about the number one thing that he did was he showed how that if you're, as an entrepreneur, or it doesn't matter, because I'm talking about kids and us as well, that if you want customer loyalty, or in this case, like a child to influence a child, or to have their loyalty to a particular thing, or for any of us too, he said, what you have to do is, you have to know human behavior. So customer loyalty does not come from, if what you stand for is your product or your service, then whatever the mission is will die. But if your product, if who you stand for, Harley Davidson stands for creating a delight in every time you see that person, a connection, somebody feels seen. What does the whole world want? To be seen. That's what you're talking about, to be wanted. Kids would rather be wanted for murder than not wanted at all, right? So basically it's like, so to be seen, and they do neurological studies that dopamine shot, people will return. It doesn't matter the price. They will return and return. This is dating too, for God's sakes. People, listen. All right. It's everything. You just give people dopamine. It's a drug. But anyhow, so like delight in people, because they return, and they will continue to return to you for that shot of delight and seeing them until it's no longer there, until they don't get it anymore. It doesn't matter about the product or service. That was my tangent. Back to you. No, Alison. We now that was by accident. You know, that was just my instructor understanding psychology and understanding influence. He always had this skill. I mean, I'll share his story quickly because it's an incredible story. He was 19 years old and he was a pizza boy. A martial arts school called and asked to order a pizza, and he, for some reason, God said, "You're the one that needs to go drop off this box of pizza." He shows up to the martial arts school. He drops it off. The instructor looks at him. He says, "You'd make a good candidate for martial arts. I want you to come try a class." He was an athlete his whole life, and he came in and he said, "All right, let me give it a shot." It was $120 at the time. The next day he went in, he wiped out his bank account. He had $125 in his bank account. He wiped out his bank account for $120, and he purchased his first month of martial arts classes. And he was hooked so much. Within 6 months, he was there 6 days a week, not getting paid. He was volunteering his time, helping classes, growing the business, developing. For 3 years, he volunteered his time. 3 years. Finally, his instructor decided to hire him. And then fortunately, his instructor decided to opt out of the business. And at 21 years old, he bought his first martial arts school. Didn't have a clue what he was doing, but he was very enthusiastic and he had a big vision. And he always said something in his mind: "I'm going to create a program that's going to transform kids' lives." And then I came along, and then other students came along, and we kind of helped him create this program. And it's very systematic. It's very detailed oriented. Just like you talk about, this is how we train our staff. The 4 levels of chemicals that can get released in the brain. And the first one is dopamine. And how do kids get dopamine? Well, in martial arts, it's very simple. We do it very, very strategically. We have stripes.
these stripes, and parents, you can use this at home. It doesn't have to be stripes. It can be rewards at home. It could be something tangible. It could be a time. It could be for my kids. They're working on, they want to go, we like to camp. We have a camper. We like to go camping. They want to go camping to Lake George. So they have a tangible idea that there's 10 things they already know. We already set it up, but they have to work towards it. There's 10 things they have to do daily in order to achieve this goal. So they're working towards it. And every time they do it, we give them a hug and a high five, boom, dopamine gets released. In the martial arts space, how we do is every time a kid does 3 things. Number 1, achieves a milestone outside of mastery. Hundreds of parents every night are standing up, my kids making their bed, cleaning their room, eating their fruits and vegetables, going to bed on time, going to bed in their own bed, cleaning up after their toys, doing their homework, reading a book. All these new habits are being instilled because the child wants the stripe around the belt. They don't want the stripe. They want the whole class to do this for them.
Yeah.
They want the instructor to give them a high five because that instructor is now their mentor and they're proud of them. And he's like, wow, I got knighted. I feel good, or she. And then we have these series of stripes that kids earn throughout every 8 weeks in our testing cycle that kids are just feeling so empowered because, like you said, Alison, it's the dopamine that really is the key.
Oh my God, and if you think of this, like you can see how this goes across the board for all of us, right? What are you like? Yeah. So when you were describing being this like a kid of behaviors, right? And now you're bought in, you're sold, right?
I'm the product. Oh, I'm the product.
Yes.
I'm the product. Yeah.
What I'm thinking about you as a missional person, that you're on a mission. It's not as much of, I feel the same way. It's like being an entrepreneur is like, you can own a business or you can do that, but also, you have a mission to change the world. And it's just like anything. The school systems are an antiquated system. The mental health system is an antiquated system. We're a mental health movement. We are not following those antiquated guidelines, and neither are you. So what I'm wondering is, like, first of all, what do you believe makes you create success, and what blocks you from it? Because do you see yourself as successful?
It depends on who you're talking to, right?
Depends on what success means, right?
Yeah. My head, and success is really in my head is being able to do what you want with who you want, whenever you want, how you want. I've had the opportunity this past weekend. I was telling you, I went to a convention, and I mean, there's people with a lot more money than me. Although, I mean, martial arts has been very generous to me, and I'm super thankful. And it's true, parents. The more value you give in the world, I guarantee the more you get back. The minute I took my mind off of money and I put it onto serving others, the money just started I was like, what in the world? Like, you understand this, Alison. It's like, I couldn't believe it. So I'm talking to all these high level people, and they're making excellent money. And that's a whole nother conversation we can have, but they're still stuck every day doing the same thing every single day. My opportunity now is I have freedom. I'm able to do what I want, when I want, pretty much with who I want. And my freedom now is the opportunity to really dive deeper into what I love most, which is helping kids. And our goal is to make this, a worldwide program, because every child needs this. If every child can just go through 6 months to a year of this kind of training, and I'll tell you why in a second, I think their life will be different. Here's a perfect example. I had the opportunity to run a seminar maybe a month ago, and it was a leadership seminar. So, something that Mastery did is we have our Mastery class, we have a leadership program for kids. And then we just created something called the Dojo Genius. You talked about patterns, Alison. Wait till you hear about this. And so I'm doing a leadership seminar. I said, parents, can we have some fun? It was like 100 parents in the room. I said, I want you to grab your cell phone. Every time a child bows in our program, they say 3 magic words. Yes, I can. Over and over again. When they turn, yes, I can. Right? So I said, parents, I just want you to just have a little fun. I want you to take out your phone. Every time you hear the phrase, yes, I can, just put a hashtag in your notes. Just put a hashtag. We trained for an hour. And at the end, I said, parents, give me the data. 78 times in 1 hour, 100 kids said, yes, I can.
Love it.
Now, imagine Isn't that great? Imagine 5 years, twice a week, doing this. What's going on with the brain? It will reprogram kids when they have a problem. I can do that. I can't. I'm scared. I'm afraid. I don't want to. We're trying to eliminate that and say, yes, I can. My son just did it before he left today. It's like, Dad, because he's going to martial arts class tonight. It's like, Dad, yes, I can. I'm going to earn that stripe tonight. Oh, you can do it? Yes, I can. When he learned how to ride his bike, oh my goodness, my son's 6. He 2 months ago, this is when it's so cool for me as a parent and an instructor to see how this correlates at home. I'm behind him. I'm like, you got this, Anthony. You can do it. You can do it. And I just keep hearing him in his head saying, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes. I didn't prompt that. That was a belief or a behavior or pattern that he picked up through his martial arts training, and now he's applying it to life. So that's the one idea of how we're really trying to help kids grow and develop.
So what would you say to a parent who, because you're in Rhode Island, right? So there's 8 locations. What about people all over the country who they hear this? And that, I think that's the issue also is, finding resources of people who are doing higher level work in all areas, right? So what would you say to them?
Well, and by no means am I trying to do any, but we do offer an online class.
Yes, you can do it. Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, you can here. He can promote it here. People, we want
all right,
this.
Cool.
Yes.
Thank you. I mean, we offer an online martial arts class, and in the online class. It's been successful. I just got off the phone with somebody on Monday about a gentleman in Texas. His 4-year-old daughter's taking class, and I just asked him, what's your experience like? He didn't say one word about the martial arts. You know what he told me? My daughter makes her bed every single day.
I love it. Making your bed.
Isn't that great?
Badass move. That is a move. I make my bed every day.
Mostly every successful person that I know makes their bed every day. But training kids to take action in the morning. My son, I don't know what got into him this morning. He woke up and I heard him rumbling and stuff. He wakes up, he makes his bed, he changes up immediately, and he goes and brushes his teeth. And I'm like, Dad, this is a new habit I'm forming. He's 6. I was like, awesome, bud.
Yes.
Let's keep doing this. Yes. So all we're trying to do is that in the virtual space is just, and it's very inexpensive. It's $10 a month. We're not like trying to, the goal of this program. I know we're not trying to do, all we're trying to do is create awareness to parents that there is a source to help kids become the best version of themselves through using martial arts, and kids will learn how to protect themselves. The cool part is that we have a training course that will actually teaches parents how to practice with their children at home. So the kids are actually getting the moves right, because we can't verbally grab them. Although with the metaverse here now, there is technology that we're going to be able to hologram an instructor right into your house, where it's a one-on-one connection, which is pretty cool. So
you know who I'm going to hook you up with? I'm hooking you up with Marie Cosgrove. Do you know who she is?
Okay. No idea. No.
Off air, I'm going to tell you about her. She does the whole virtual world thing. She's a doctor, and I'm going to hook you up with her. Yeah, she's got a whole thing there.
I would love to.
So let me ask you, do you do anything with like older kids or adults?
So it's much easier to influence a 3-year-old's beliefs than it is to challenge a 19-year-old's,
exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah. And we just found our business model is this. We obviously
that's your final
we want to
answer?
grow mastery. Yeah. I'll explain. I'll tell you why. Our business model is we like to work with kids because kids turn into adults. Adults turn into instructors, and instructor turns into a partner with us at Mastery. We love working with adults. We did it for many years, and we just made the decision. We're a kid's school. The way that we teach class, the animation, the storytelling, the understanding. We love working with kids. Our staff is just all of our staff. One of our instructors today, it's his birthday. He's 21 years old. Do you know when I met him? When he started training? When he was 3. I've known this young man.
Yes.
Him and I have been in a relationship, a mentorship, since he was 18. And his mom put this beautiful post on Facebook, thanking Mastery and the community about the man that he is today He wouldn't be who he is today if it wasn't for the mastery supporting him for so many years. And he's training. He's one of our instructors. He goes to college. He has plans of opening his own martial arts school. And he's just so dynamic and so personable. And that's one of many stories. But it really comes down to, if you're a parent, you're a product of your environment, right? We can take a positive kid that has everything going for him in his life. We can take this child and we can put him with kids who are just on the wrong trajectory in life. Wrong habits, wrong beliefs, wrong disciplines. Parents aren't really involved. We can put, even though this kid is so great in this space, we put him here, in a matter of months, he's going to turn out to be like them. Now, on the flip side, it's the same. We take a child in this environment who's headed on the wrong path, not following directions. We remove him from this environment and we put him in an environment that's instilling structure, confidence, discipline, respect, positive attitude. Yes, I can. It's only a matter of time before he starts to change and become like his environment. So if you're a parent, I want you to be very conscious of the environments you put your child in on a daily basis. It's so valuable. That's probably the most valuable thing that I learned growing up, that the environment that I'm in. I'm always, my thing is that I always want to be around people who are not better than me, but are further ahead in life than I am. Like a great example is I did this with our staff the other day. I said, pull out your cell phone. And I said, okay, I want you to look through all your text messages and all your calls. And I want you to go ahead and tell me all the people that you called in text last week. How important are they to you? Yes, your mom and dad, but on your circle of influence, like who were you communicating with the most last week? Was it your friends? Was it people who you aspire to be like? Was it somebody who's not really, just kind of tagging along for the ride? Like, who are the people who are you speaking to most on a daily basis, or a weekly basis, or a monthly basis? Because those people are going to infiltrate our minds, as you know, Alison. And with kids, they're super impressionable, like so impressionable. They're sponges, parents. You know this. You and your spouse can be having a conversation in 3 rooms over, and it's an intense conversation, and your kids pick up every single word, and they hear all of it, and they don't forget it, because kids' minds are they're on the unconscious level. They're not consciously awake yet. So it's really important that we're very aware of what we're saying around our kids, because it's affecting them for positive or negative.
You know, I love this, the phrase that comes to me, and I also want you to say that quote, because you said a really great quote before we were recording. And I always think, like, children are wet cement. And it's kind of like when we're, I mentioned this, this vulgar, it's not vulgar, but it's like a bad way I put this, is like that, as parents, we tend to put our crap in our child's toilet bowl and expect them to flush it. So we model all of this behavior, and then when they give us back the same behavior that we had just given them, or had been giving them all along, we're mad at them for doing that behavior, when really we're probably mad at ourselves. So I remember my son said to me once when he was young, and I was not a mom who yelled, but I was yelling at this moment. They were young, and he said, "Mom, I know you're not really yelling at us." He goes, "I know that you're really yelling at yourself." And I said, "You are." He was young. He might've been 6. I said, "I got to tell you, Luke, you are 100% right. I'm yelling at myself because I feel like I made a mistake with you, and I'm so sorry." So it's like, kids. Yeah. So anyhow, I want to know what you would do. Wait, I have another thing I want to say. Very important.
Go ahead.
When you were describing your childhood and how you were a behavioral kid, what I'm thinking is, I'm just listening how you were like guided along this path. And this is like something that I talk about all the time, that all of these difficulties that we have in our life, I feel like God doesn't look at them the same way that we do. That these difficulties are a training ground that provide an avenue for, like, it could be thousands, millions of people to change. So it's like your struggles in your childhood gave you the license, it gave you the right to now speak into these children's lives. I feel like the tragedies that I've had gives me the, like, I've earned the right by growing out of it to help other people. And what you're doing is incredible. You know that, right?
Well, a fish is the last one to know what water is, right?
Yes,
and
true.
we're just, yeah, right. We're just doing what we're doing, and I know how valuable it is, and it's my responsibility is to continue to educate the world about what we're doing. And I mean, we didn't even get into the next level. This is stage one. To go off, your idea is that it's so hard to give a child all the skills in such a short amount of time. But what we learned, Alison, is that the number one fear in the world is what we're doing right now is public speaking, right? And with kids, I remember my first public speaking engagement, and growing up, going back to your question, growing up, I was out of shape in all areas, by the way, mentally, physically, emotionally, and socially. I mean, you look at pictures of me, it's funny. I mean, I was an Oompa Loompa. I was like, wow. And I look back and I say, wow, I had no friends. I was the class clown. I was in detention all the time. I ate whatever I wanted, and I was miserable from the inside out. And martial arts really kind of, and my dad, by the way, my dad's a huge mentor in my life, and I'm thankful for him because he's kind of taught me the ethic of hard work. And parents, one thing I do know is my dad told me this every single day of my life, and he still does every time I call him. He goes, son, every day used to wake me up. He goes, if you're going to be a garbage man in this world, I'm okay with that. But you're going to be the world's best garbage man anybody's ever seen. When you go to church on Sunday, everyone's be like, hey, there he is, the guy, the best garbage man in the world. He's right there. He's amazing. He instilled the belief in me that whatever I do, I have to be the best at. And I remember, and I'm thankful for that moment, because even though my behavior wasn't up to par as a kid, I do remember like how he instilled that belief in me, and watching him work so hard every single day, 7 days a week, to provide for my brothers and I. It's commendable, and I'm appreciative of that, because he taught me so many great lessons. And then the martial arts, I had the access to my instructor, Mr. Horton. What a mentor he's been my whole life, and he's still a mentor to me. My goodness, this guy, I've never seen somebody at 53 years old still creating and innovating. I mean, this guy's at 53, snowboards. I don't know. I think he went snowboarding 38, 39 times last year down mountains. He jumps out of helicopters. He's crazy. Like he does it all. He's a pilot. He has an airplane. Like he wasn't good at one. This is what like he's here, and I'm watching him do all these incredible things in his life, not just martial arts. He wasn't just good at martial arts. He was good at everything. And I'm like, how does this guy do this? Everything he does, he's great at. It's unbelievable. And I aspire like that. That was a great mentor to me, because he wasn't just good at martial arts. He's good at everything he does. It's really remarkable to see. Still at 53, and he's still growing. He's still developing, still learning daily. So I understand that, and I'm thankful for that opportunity. And then, we started growing up, and then my instructor, Mr. Horton, when we were teenagers, he's like, I'm not happy the direction this is going. There's got to be more to this. Yeah, we're helping kids with better behavior, but we have to create something bigger. And we're like, what? He's like, we need to create a leadership program. Leadership? What is leadership? He's like, I know what leadership is. So he found out the number one fear in the world is public speaking. He said, okay, most kids are afraid, most adults are afraid of public speaking too, but it's not our fault, Alison. It's not, because no one's ever trained us. We never went through a course of how to become a good public speaker. I remember my first public speaking engagement. I was 11, 12 years old. I went in front of my social studies class. I didn't know what to do. I read from a piece of paper and I choked. I went back to my class, I went back to my seat, and I'm like, I will never have this experience again. I was embarrassed. Kids were laughing at me. It was a terrible experience. And the older I got, that wasn't my fault. No one. It's like me giving the keys to my truck to my 6-year-old son, yes, starting it up, putting it in drive, say, "Have fun, buddy. Go ahead." Right?
100%.
So have you had an experience? Yeah. And so
God,
what we did was we created a program for kids as young as 5 of step by step of actually how to practice public speaking. They get in front of the class, and it's very simple, very, very minute. Feet together, set. Bow, yes, I can. And in groups of 3. And then they rotate. They come up again. Feet together, set. Bow, yes, I can. See, if it's in a group of 50, kids go, oh, but if it's in a group of 3, what's a group of 3? And so we call this triangulation. And then we stack on it. We start week 1, feet together, set, bow, yes, I can. And then we had our life skill, respect. It's not what I know, it's what I do, sir. And then we rotate. Next week, we add more. By the end of 8 weeks, these kids are actually leading an entire martial arts class at 7 years old. Then they go to school. Isn't it cool? They go to school and teachers are, all right, time for a pep. Our kids, they videotape it, record it to us. These kids look like naturals up there. And all the other kids are like, and it's because they had the right training. So yeah, that's probably one of the coolest parts about mastery, besides, the next stage that we just developed is Dojo Genius.
I'm going to tell you something. I have 4 kids, but 3 of them are boys. And
okay.
One of the things, and they were in, it was karate, like a long time ago,
yeah.
Right? But till this day, they're grown up. If I go like this, and don't laugh at me because I don't even know what I'm doing, but if I do this one thing, they will dart and stand in front of me like this. So if I go front position like that, they run and they stand in front of me, and they'll do it no matter where they are. It doesn't matter. And it's just, I remember them and how they felt. And I regret that I did not keep my boys doing that, because I think that we also have this like distortion. One of the things I find as a mom, and I've also found in working with tons of parents, is that we have a tendency to, we do not like our children to be in pain. But what I've tried to explain to people, that it's more like our own issue. It really is that we don't want to feel what we feel when they're in pain. We don't want to watch them struggle. So we remove struggles, which causes them later pain. So it's like this ongoing, yeah. And I'm always telling parents, never, ever, ever tell anyone, especially your children, something that you want them to tell themselves. You help them to tell themselves so that they hear it from inside out, and it's because, I see parents with like kids with drug addictions and all these different things. So what I want to ask you is like, what would you say to yourself when you described yourself out of shape in every way, 11 years old? All I heard when you described that public speaking thing is that our system, our school system and our social system for kids is age segregated, is a system designed for shame. It supports shame. So it's a mistake averse society. It's like, you have to hide who you really are. There's so many things that support the development of shame. So what would you say? I mean, when you described yourself at 11 years old, I felt the hot tears in my eyes fill up. I could feel it, because that feeling is horrible. What you described, being that age, it's so hard. All I had as a child was shame. I didn't want to be seen, just shame. So what would you do with a kid 11 like you, walks in I don't know if you see kids 11, like you're trying to raise your age. What would you do?
Yeah, no, we do. First off, I mean, that is spot on what you said as a mom. Every kid wants to quit something in the beginning. And I know for us as adults, I mean, I look back at my own life, and I wish there were some things in my life I didn't give up. I wish someone just pushed me just a little bit more, just encourage me a little bit more. So parents, if there's a time that your child, they're passionate about it, quitting doesn't last forever. It doesn't. It might last a couple months. We're human beings. It gets bored. It gets hard. Things get hard. If there's anything in your child's life that is valuable to them, you have to let them stick with it. What we try to do is with kids, with parents, we help them realize kids want to make their own choices, but they can't make the big decisions in life. If they want to make their own choice, would you like an apple or a banana today? Which choice? Do you want to read this book or this book? Would you like to do push-ups or sit-ups today? Would you like to brush your teeth or clean your room first? So you see what you're doing, right? You're just giving them 2 good options. It doesn't matter. But the big lessons in life, I truly believe that those are made for parents. So that was very powerful what you said. But going back to an 11-year-old, let's recall. Here's a perfect one,
yourself.
Okay, here's a perfect. Yeah, I actually have one better for you. We 3 months ago, there was a 17-year-old young man, foster care child, Been in and out of foster homes his whole life, and this dad actually picked him up at, I think, 15 years old. He walks in with a cast on his hand. And I was at one of the mastery locations in Massachusetts the other night, about 3 months ago. And I said, "Who are you?" He goes, "I'm such and such." And unfortunately, he was 17. He had an Uber drop him off. The dad's like, "He needs this. I know what's going on." And I said, "Okay, tell me your story." He's like, "Well," I said, "What happened to your hand?" He's like, I got really mad and I punched the locker and I broke my wrist." Okay. So I said, "Well, this is perfect." So the first thing you do with a child like that, who's like me, 11 through 18, you have to align with them first. Yep. I just, instead of sitting across from him, I sat on the side for him and I said, "Bud, I feel your pain. I know what you're going through. I know most people don't, but I understand. Life's not easy. It's hard to be a teenager nowadays. I get it." And he just looked at me and I said, "What's the hardest thing you're facing right now?" He's like, I don't know." I said, "I know you don't know, but if you did know, what would it might be?" It's like, I just don't feel like I fit in." So you're telling me if we can find a place to make you feel like you fit in and you feel like you belong and make you feel good, this might be the right place for you? He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, I got a great instructor for you. See this guy right here? He's 19 years old. He's awesome. I think he's going to be your instructor. What do you think?" And boom, instant rapport. 17, 18, mentor, 17, boom. I went to that location the other night. This kid's walking in with his shoulders up, chin back. He's training in class. He's moving. I connected with his dad. He's more respectful at home. He's following directions better. He's doing better at school before school is in session. He's on the right trajectory now. Just because we align with him, we help them realize that a lot of kids feel like this, and it's okay. And let's try to make you feel comfortable and have a home. Everybody wants to have a home. Even us as humans, we want to. Why are we in the Arte group? Community. We want that sense of a community. Kids do as well too, especially kids, by the way, and especially teenagers. My instructor taught me this a long time ago. And parents, if you think about your own life, you'll really understand this. If we take hundreds of kids from all the high schools, maybe thousands of kids from all the high schools around the country, and we put them in one room, within 30 minutes, all of those kids are going to sort themselves out. The sports players are naturally going to be connected with the sports players. The magician, the people who play instruments will go there. The kids who are kind of into the books, they'll just sort themselves out. They know what they're like. They know what they'll go over here. The popular kids will go over here. The kids that like soccer will go over here. They'll just naturally, all of a sudden, within a half hour, they'll all be in the right diverse groups for them. And when I heard that, I said, that makes complete sense to me. So it's our responsibility to give your child a sense of belonging, making them feel like they're a part of community, like we listen to them, we hear them, we understand them. And sometimes it's not always a mom and dad. You need to find a community that's best for your child, that way they feel like they belong and they can get value from.
And you can see that, like, when kids end up in gangs or anything, that's really because they're looking for a community to belong in. And adolescents, their developmental stage is all about individuating, finding their identity. And so they'll need to individuate from their family system, but they don't have to rebel. I think that's the biggest myth, that kids who individuate have to rebel again and be angry with their family. The only reason that they would need to do that is because they didn't understand that they could do it freely. They could become who they are freely. And you're providing that separate from the family, but in a good role model environment, which is so cool.
Yes.
What do you think is like the number one avenue to success
for kids?
Well, I guess it would be for anyone, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I
maybe. Whatever skills. You think.
I truly believe that there's two skills that especially kids need to develop early in life: discipline and self-esteem. Why discipline? Well, think about it. Nothing happens without discipline. The physical shape we're in today, it's because of our discipline or lack thereof. Our mindset is because of the discipline and thoughts we have on a daily action. We can't go ahead and eat healthy and exercise for one day and go, yeah, that's it, I'm good for the rest of my life. It's a daily action. and creating these daily habits, reading, writing, journaling, these habits of developing these habits that will serve you or hurt you for the rest of your life. All we all have habits in life. Either they're adding to us or they're taking away. It's our responsibility as much as we can to provide the discipline. See, when you develop the habit, as you know, Alison, it's not that you don't need discipline anymore. The habits develop. It's an unconscious response, right? We have the 4 areas: unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence. You understand, and then the ultimate goal is getting to unconscious competence, where we're not even aware of what we're doing anymore, and we just our body and mind just naturally take over because we programmed it. So discipline is number one. Without discipline, nothing happens. Number two, self-esteem. A lot of people get self-esteem and confidence twisted. Self-esteem is believing in who you are as a human. Confidence is believing in your abilities to do something. Here's a perfect example. I feel like I have a high level of self-esteem. Put me on a dance floor, my confidence is way down low. You're not going to want to see that. Maybe after a couple tequilas, but you're not going to want to see that. All right. But my self-esteem is still always high. But there's certain areas in my life where my confidence isn't high. Go ask me to go build a house. I don't think I'm going to enjoy that experience, right? Because that's not my skill set. But my self-esteem is always good about I always feel good about who I am. And if you're unsure what self-esteem is, you take the 2 words and you just flip them around. Esteem in yourself. How much esteem as a human being you have inside of you. Like when you walk, like I make it a point when I walk anywhere, people just like, they move out of the way like this because I do it intentionally. Do it intentionally because I want to show people like I have confidence in who I am as a human being. I'm not going to walk around like this, especially with my children and my wife around me who like, that's just not a thing. So I'm really conscious of developing the discipline that I need to achieve my goals. And I'm really conscious of always, positive self-talk. A lot of people, unfortunately, I mean, as you know, Alison, in your line of work, they have this negative little voice in their head that always is telling them they're not good enough. You can't do this. You're a loser. You're dumb. You're stupid. Oh, stuff always happens to you. Get out of your own way. You'll never be good enough. Well, how about we just take that? Here's a perfect example. Last night I was at the gym. It was late. I got done late, and this guy, he was in great shape, and he hurt it. Now he was in great shape, but maturity wise, I mean, he was way down low. It was kind of like, I was like, wow, this guy's in great shape, but mentally not nowhere close. He like hurt his pec muscle, and he's like banging stuff and slamming. I said, you all right? No, I got this. I said, how about you just focus on what you have instead of what you don't have right now? And he looks at me and he goes, what? I said, you have your legs work? He goes, yeah. I said, your arms work? He goes, yeah. Your minds work? Not everyone's that lucky in the world. He goes, you're right. And he shut up. Like he was like, his maturity level was so, he was getting so angry over nothing. And I just had to step in there and help him recognize, like, stop having this negative talk with yourself. You already have so many great things going on in your life. Like, what are you doing? And that's where most people fall short, is that they have this negative. Instead of focusing on what we don't have, how about focus on what you do have?
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. I thought you were going to say he punched you.
I really, you know what?
Honestly,
it's funny.
Yeah. I did think he was going to punch you. I was like, uh-oh.
I'd be ready.
I was a little nervous
for that. No. He told me he had 2 injuries, and I said, how did you get the injuries? And he ignored the question. So I said, I get a pride. Like, I want to know now. So I asked him again, how did you get the injury? And he ignored it. I know he heard me, ignored it. So I said, I'm curious, were those gym injuries? And then he goes, no. I said, what was the first one? He's like, my girlfriend and I got into a bad fight, and she took a broom and snapped it over my arm. And I'm like, and then I said, what's the next one? He's like, well, we got into another bad fight, and I punched a refrigerator, and I tore my shoulder muscle. This guy's got anger issues. Like, I'm just like, wow, this guy was the perfect candidate for mastery when he was 3. Yes. Like, this is the trajectory of a kid with no self-control, the direction he goes into. Like very low maturity, strong body, which means nothing. But unfortunately, all that, it's just one area of his life that he has, so that's my 1 cent.
I love it. The thing that I just want to shout out to everyone who's listening is that this right here that we're talking about is about hope. This is like my take on it, is that there's this like level of hope here and this is what I'm always trying to say to everybody, is that you have the power within you right? To co-create. I'm a person of faith, so I believe in God, but I believe that we co-create. But we have the power within us to pivot away from thoughts, feelings, core beliefs every moment that we're alive, as long as we gain mastery over the moment that we're in and really just be present in what we're in. And what you're doing with children, you know, anyone who has, I know that there's parents listening to this, including me, like, oh shoot, you know, one of the things I did with my own daughter is that when she was scared to go on the soccer field and she was so cute and little, like the littlest bunky thing ever, and she was like holding on me and terrified, I let her not go. And you know, there's this like balance of like being respectful of what they're feeling and also knowing that how great they're going to feel. Like I always tell my kids, responsible acts produce self-esteem. So it's like, and that doesn't match exactly with what you were saying, because you're talking about confidence, but it's confident in who you
Same
are.
thing. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
it's just such a burst when you're in organized and you have order in your life. And I feel like what you're saying, Anthony, is you're telling people, and I'm telling them that even though you're not a kid, you can do this. Like you can, it's just today is, you know, that's silly. It's not silly. Today is the first day of the rest of our life. This is the first moment of the rest of our life. What we think in this pocket of time, in this little space, creates things. And what Anthony's doing is helping children create a life that they can feel great in. So I want to applaud you. You get some dopamine? Did I do it good enough?
Yes.
Dopamine.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Yes.
You can do it. I can do it. So anyhow,
we all can. You're already doing it.
I have so many things I'm dying to say and discuss with you, but we're running out of time and I want to respect your time.
I understand.
But is there anything, there was a quote that you said, I don't know if you remember it. It was like similar. Do you remember it? What was it? I want you to leave that with my people.
Parents, remember this one thing. Your child's brain is always on record. Their behavior is the playback.
Love that.
A child's mind, it's always recording. I mean, it is DVRing all the time. What they see, remember, they don't listen, they see. What they see, all they're going to do is play back the same behavior they see. So unfortunately, I look at my own life, and then when I was like acting out as a kid and getting frustrated and had lack of self-control, as much as I love my dad, just emulating what I seen in him. Like he was a very hard worker, but when things didn't go right, he got angry and frustrated and mad. Not mad at us, but I seen the behavior when something didn't go right in his life, and he got upset. And all I did was emulate that behavior unconsciously. I didn't do it consciously. I did it unconsciously because that's what I see my dad do. And if I can give you just one more perfect example, my wife thinks I'm nuts, but every morning I decide to meditate in front of my children. I've been doing this since they were babies, like infants. And I do it. So about 3 months ago, I was rushing out of the house. We were late for something, and it's my responsibility to get the kids ready. That's my job as a dad when my wife's at work. And I couldn't find the kids anywhere. I'm like, where are the kids? I look here, I look there, I look outside. We got a pool, we got this. I'm like, oh my goodness. I run into my son's bedroom and the door's locked. Not locked, but closed. I open it up and I said, they're sitting there with their legs crossed, hands on their lap, and they go, shh, Dad, we're meditating. Shh.
Love that. And
at that moment, I mean, there was one of the best moments ever, just watching my kids emulate the behavior that they've seen in me for many years. And I watch my son do push-ups all the time. Like he's 6 and he's banging out like 20 push-ups. Why is he doing that? Because he sees me do them all the time, and I intentionally do that. And that's really what it comes down to. Is if whatever behavior you want your child to show, you got to set the example first. And if you're setting the example, it's not going to happen overnight. I promise you, they'll emulate.
I love that so much. And God, and now I'm trying to say another thing that is so good. Meditation is everything. It's so good. So, and if they can learn that young, that is the best thing ever. One of the things I always tell parents is that when your child is not doing what you want, or in your eyes, misbehaving, or whatever that is, the number one, very first thing to do, and I'm hearing you do it, like in your examples, you just report that over and over again, is that to me, with my kids, it was always a sign that I needed to reconnect with them, that I was disconnected from them, because the only influence I have is through alignment, is being connected with them. So I would get on my knees or whatever it is. Hey, what's up? If they're acting out, not because we can raise puppets or we can raise people. You can always, like, the behavior is bad. Don't do the behavior. You could force them not to do a behavior. But if you connect with the underlying cause underneath the behavior, what they're really looking for, like what you keep doing, that right there creates human beings of depth. And, and it's not a rush, to immediately stop a behavior. You transform through connection and having them experience like influence of being understood. So I think what you do is so good. And I want everybody, like, I believe I want to like refer kids to your videos or whatever it is you do. So
Sure.
tell us how, tell the people, by the way, I would like you to like and share this video with as many parents as you can, because I think that, both Anthony and myself, we don't do these things for money. I don't do this for money. I do this for a mission. And really, we really want to change the world. And really, if you can share with a parent, and parents will feel so much relief if they have simple tools to love and connect with their children, and their children are giving them an opportunity to succeed instead of making it harder for the kids to succeed. So, Anthony, how would people find you if they wanted to do whatever the heck they want to do?
Yeah, sure. If I can give one more bit of advice, you just triggered a thought. If you're having a hard time, parents, use technology. What do I mean by use technology? We have something called Professor YouTube, right? we can do anything. On Professor YouTube, you can type in kids affirmation. There are hundreds of videos people already pre-recorded. I've been playing these videos with my children since they were like 6 months old. And I just play it in the background on our TV. I don't even care if they're listening, because Alison knows the subconscious mind is naturally picking this stuff up. So I don't have to play them anymore. You want to know why? Because they know them inside and out. I have purpose. I'm a good person. No one's opinion will ever define me. You're going to see this video if you just search kids affirmation. And I play it. I used to play it every single morning, and just use technology. Let kids, oh, you want to play on your iPad this morning? Sure. As soon as we're done with our affirmations, no problem.
Oh, yes.
Oh, you want to go outside and play? Absolutely. It's going to take you 3 minutes. Let's just get through these affirmations together. You and I can do it together. And you do that for a year. Watch the difference in your child's behavior and their attitude and their mindset. I just wanted to share that. I think it's a really valuable piece. And yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just got excited.
No.
Because the other thing, like, there's these things that I'm extracting and that are illuminated with what you're doing interactively with your kids and with people. And I want the the listeners to notice. So I want you guys to hear what Anthony just did. What Anthony did was he said, and this is what I have always done. My kids ask me about something or for something, as long as it's reasonable. My answer is always yes. But what you were describing, yes, of course you can go out and play, but right after we do this. So did you notice that he's leading with yes, that the world is an abundant and great place for you, and you can have great things, and we do these other things too, and you can do this or this, these two great things. And I just feel like there's so many, you're doing those things naturally, like you're describing as a habit, but I want people to notice and say, very often parents are so programmed. As soon as a kid walks in the room, sometimes moms or dads go, no. they don't even hear what the question is. And because they're, I don't know, they're scared or something. But yeah, I have so much to say about this. I'm gonna have to do a whole show on parenting or something. But anyhow,
there you go. Definitely.
Listen, you are amazing. Yeah. I'm so glad you came on this show. I think that, so where would they find you? They want to do a video thing, not a video. virtual?
Yeah, our online course. Yeah, you want to do our online course? Absolutely. Just go on Mastery, MASTERYMA.com. Fill out the application. We'll have one of our specialists contact you and figure out if our program's a good fit for you. And we'd love to have you be a part of it. It's working and it's changing lives across the country, and we're excited. So masterma.com, just fill out, request more information, and one of our specialists will contact you immediately and go over all the details and see if we're a good fit.
I have a question. So if let's say we have kids here, in the counseling centers that we want to use, like, are there certain days, like there's classes, right? Is that how it works?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So we have a class Mondays and Wednesdays, Eastern time. I believe it's at 6:30 Eastern. And then they're recorded and they're sent out. And then we also offer a 50-course video training series on how that's recorded. That's a private website on how you can maximize the experience. It's just like any online course as a parent that you buy for your own self or personal development, but it's designed for kids to teach them how to get the most value out of a mastery program. It's kind of fun. The first video is understanding culture. And when kids walk into their house, what's the first thing they do? They should take off their shoes, right? Isn't that part of a culture? They should say hi to their mom and dad and give them a hug and a kiss and ask them how their day was, instead of running on their iPad or their Xbox or their TV. So understanding culture is really number one. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir, at home. Yes, mom. Yes, dad. Understanding the culture. Second one is teaching kids how to set up their own dojo at home. We have kids creating on a big board. They come up with their own name. In reality, we're actually teaching kids how to be entrepreneurs, if you think about it. They're coming up with their own martial arts school name. They stick it on the board. They create a safe space in their house. If you want to put down some mats, you can put down some mats. If it's on a carpet, cool. And this space is just designated for your son or daughter's martial arts training. What is that teaching your child? It's teaching your child about responsibility and discipline, how to maintain a certain space in your house and it's only used for certain things. And we keep it clean, we keep it neat, and we're organizing our life in a certain way. So it's a fun course to go through with kids. And I think it's been a good experience so far for a lot of kids.
Do the kids have to go through it with their parents?
Some of them. So it's an interactive one where what we found is that kids want to practice and parents want to practice martial arts, but they just don't know how. So the course is designed to teach kids and parents how to practice at home, because most parents never done martial arts before and they want to help their child, but they just don't know if they're doing it correctly. So the idea is we've taken 50 household items. Everybody has one of these. And this is part of the video. We teach kids actually how to use this to practice focus when striking. So a parent holds this on a pillow, and kids, without water in it, they have to use their fist and strike it. What's that doing? Eye, mind, and body in one direction. It's teaching kids how to focus, and it's fun. And then we switch it, and then the kid holds it, and the parent has to punch it. But now,
I'm going to collaborate with you. I got some ideas. I got good ideas. And I shouldn't do it on the podcast. So basically, well, we could, but I'm going to keep my my entrepreneurial secrets to myself. Okay. But anyhow, so guys, I just want to ask that you please just, show your love to Anthony. He's just an incredible force for good on earth for our children. Please, when you walk away from this podcast, do not walk away beating yourself up. Walk away with the concept that if it's being done, I can do it and I can start now. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old your kids are. I mean, it matters in terms of some things, but when's the best time to plant a tree 20 years ago? When's the next best time? Today. So that's all I want to say about that. Anthony, I want to thank you so much for being on the show. You are just an inspiration. Okay. So, and I never know how to land a plane. I always say this at the end of the show. So I'm just going to crash. I'm just going to crash and burn right now. Woo!
Thanks, guys. Yeah. A lot of fun.
So long, guys.